How can we build food security on our continent?
Well, first and foremost, I think the African economies have proven to be quite resilient. We project that this year, Africa's GDP growth rate will be 4%. That is this year and next year. And that is high compared to the global GDP growth rate, which is estimated to be, 2.7% this year and 3.2%. We have a program that's called Technologies for African Agricultural Transformation. That program in the last 3 years alone has provided more than 12 million farmers with access to high-performing technologies for maize, for rice, for cassava, and also for wheat, all across several African countries. And one of the countries that actually stands out a lot is Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, we supported them to produce wheat, but using heat-tolerant wheat varieties that resist heat. We provided those varieties for them in 2018. And they started in 2018, they cultivated 5,000 hectares. Then this year, they cultivated 1.4 million hectares. And for the first time in their history, Ethiopia is now a net exporter of wheat. We're doing the same also for maize, all across from Kenya to all of East and Southern Africa. We have 5.6 million households that are using what we call water-efficient maize. These are maize varieties that are able to tolerate also drought. Drought is becoming a major issue impacting the economies of African countries. So we've been able to do that. But, I don't believe that Africa's future lies in begging for food. We're sitting on 65% of all the arable land that's uncultivated left in the world. So what we do with that will determine the future of food in the world. So we launched a $1.5 billion Africa Emergency Food Production Facility, which today is supporting 34 countries to produce food worth $12 billion. So I'm confident that Africa will not have any crisis arising from this particular situation.
What should Africa's health agenda focus on?
The African Development Bank, we are investing now $3 billion to help to revamp Africa's indigenous pharmaceutical industry so that they can also have access to the active pharmaceutical ingredients that the rest of the world have used in producing generics to be able to manufacture our own drugs. And we are also helping to upgrade their own plant level capacity, both in terms of physical infrastructure, but also human capacity to be able to meet the WHO level 4 standard, in which case you can produce and you can market it globally as certified quality medical products. So we're doing that. On the vaccine side, we are investing in a few companies to also help with the manufacturing of vaccines in Africa. But as you were saying, the issue with vaccines is that you need to have the antigens to be able to produce it, but you also need to have the know-how to do it. And so vaccines are not things you pick up on a grocery store and you bring home. You have to support, R&D capacity. You have to have, whether it's biochemistry, you have to have, pharmaceutical, pharmacology, people that can actually do that. So we are investing quite a lot in building medical sciences capacity in Africa.
How can we boost our intra-Africa trade?
A lot of trade that we are talking about still is being done by informal traders, and so we got to make more progress in moving beyond informal trading to more formal trading systems, which means we have to have a lot of training for the traders into this particular area. And lastly, is that those that who are actually trading are women, and so they have to be able to trade without harassment. And we as African Development Bank are very big in this to make sure that women traders can trade freely within the region and also without sexual harassment. I am proud of what we've done in this area as African Development Bank. We have a program called Affirmative Finance Action for Women in Africa, which we have used to leverage as of last year, in 1 year, $1 billion for women businesses in Africa. And we'll continue to do that because women are the ones that run trade in Africa.